President and his team, and we just exchanged with him, have worked hard to stabilize the economy.
Director General of World Trade Organization pats federal government on the back for outcomes of viable economic reforms.
You can see that we have literally moved the entire communication and information structure of the federal government to Abuja.
Infrastructural development policy of federal government key to national development, says Information Minister as he tours Southeast.
Party primaries, including resolution of disputes arising from the primary, will start on the 24th day of November.
Clock ticks for Osun October 8 governorship election. INEC releases notice signaling commencement of the process. Good evening and welcome to NTA Network News. We are live in Abuja. I am Jumma Yusuf. Tonight, we'll be joining Lagos in the course of the newscast, and Benny Adams is standing by to bring us the news, business news. And as usual, our sports corner has highlights on happenings in the world of sports with Francesca Belle. This newscast is streaming live on all our social media platforms displayed on your screen. Now, World Trade Organization WTO's Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has commended Nigeria's government for the outcomes of various economic reforms embarked on and now leading to stability in the economy. The DG in company of Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Olujumoke Oduwale, visited President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the State House. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, who was a coordinating Minister of the Economy in Nigeria, also offers advice on the required next steps to grow the economy.
We think that the President and his team, and we just exchanged with him, have worked hard to stabilize the economy. And you cannot really improve an economy unless it's stable. So he has to be given the credit for the stability of the economy. So the reforms have been in the right direction. What is needed next is growth. We now need to grow the economy, and we need to put in social safety nets so that people who are feeling the pinch of the reforms can also have some support to be able to weather the hardship. So that's the next step. How do we build social safety net to help Nigerians cushion the hardship they are feeling? And then how do we grow the economy so we can create more jobs and put more money in people's pockets? These are issues that we discussed with Mr. President.
The head of the World Trade Body appreciated the President and First Lady Oluremi Tinubu for the Women Exporters Fund just launched in Abuja to support women through economic hardship.
Nigeria competed and won. One of 4 countries that won globally to be part of this new initiative. We had 67,000 Nigerian women who applied for this, and 146, can you imagine, 67,000, 146 won, and they are going to have money disbursed directly to them. 16 of them won what we call the booster track. Those who already have businesses, but their businesses will be scaled up. They will receive technical and business support for 18 months from the WTO and the ITC, and working with the ministry. So we will all work together to make sure that their businesses expand, they employ more people, they put money in their household's pocket and in the nation's pocket. Then another 100 will get directly $5,000 to scale up, to start and strengthen their businesses, again with 12 months of business support. So 146 women beneficiaries. This is just the beginning.
The fund is jointly managed by the WTO and the International Trade Center. Meanwhile, limited access to digital tools, financing and global markets continue to hinder the growth of women-led businesses in Nigeria and across the developing world. Alika Okwanachi Arua reports that the World Trade Organization is addressing this gap through the launch of the Women Exporters in Digital Economy Fund, a global initiative aimed at closing the digital trade divide. For many women, this could be a turning point on leveraging technology to drive export growth and economic inclusion.
According to a recent report by the International Trade Center, ITC, women make up less than 30% of global digital exporters, underscoring a significant gender gap in cross-border e-commerce. To bridge the gap, WTO Director General Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has launched the $50 million Women-Led Exporters in the Digital Economy wide fund, aimed at empowering women-led businesses to expand their digital exports.
It's an inter-ministerial effort with policy supporting the women and making sure that the infrastructure is available for them to thrive.
The fund offers 2 tiers of support: the Discovery Grants, up to $5,000 for early-stage businesses exploring digital trade, and the Booster Grants, which is up to $30,000 for more established businesses ready to scale internationally.
Wide Fund is about unlocking the immense potential of the SME, particularly the women, who account for a significant percentage of SME in Nigeria.
With the right support, which they're getting, we can drive innovation, create jobs, and accelerate our nation's economic growth. You are going to deliver, Mr. President's $1 trillion economy by 2030.
I urge all stakeholders present, governments, financial institutions, and development partners to sustain investment in women-led enterprises.
I assure you that Nigerian Customs Service will be ready to work every step of the way with you.
Beneficiaries of the fund are already seeing the impact. Jadesola Adejumo emphasized that the grants and digital training will enable her to scale online, reach more global customers, and compete in the international stage.
I don't have to rely on family and friends again, traveling abroad to take your product.
The WTO and ITC notes that the program will be implemented in collaboration with development agencies, private sector, and local trade associations to ensure meaningful grassroots impacts. In Abuja, Alika Okpanachi, Arua, NTA News.
Still on women and youth empowerment, the federal government has announced a new national skills program aimed at connecting 20 million young Nigerians to jobs, training and entrepreneurship opportunities by 2030, with at least 60% of beneficiaries expected to be women. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the assurance as he assumed the chairmanship of the position of the reactivated board of Generation Unlimited Nigeria.
This is the inaugural board meeting of Generation Unlimited Nigeria. Vice President Kashim Shettima described Nigeria's youthful population as the nation's superpower and comparative advantage in a rapidly aging world. The Generation Unlimited board meeting coincides with the International Youth Day 2025, themed Youth Innovation for a Sustainable Future.
And this is why Generation Unlimited Nigeria matters. It holds the promise of connecting 20 million young Nigerians to skills, employment and entrepreneurship opportunities by 2030. It is a demand-driven national talent pipeline linking foundational and work readiness training directly to guaranteed livelihood pathways. It is an inclusive model that aims to serve both vulnerable and the job ready, with a target that no less than 60% of beneficiaries will be female.
The vision is clear. It's to create a job, build and bridge the skill gaps, and develop the young people to give them empowerment and not just a token, but human capital development.
The Vice President pledged that all training under the initiative will align with the National Skills Qualification Framework to ensure that young people possess not only the skills to work, but the credentials to compete globally.
Nigeria stands really as an accelerator and a model, not only for the region, but for our continent, our beloved continent, and for the globe. So I think whatever is done here is really very important and gives hope. And the program aims to reach 20 million young Nigerians by 2030.
And to say that the UN Nigeria, through the agencies represented around this table, but also the bigger family of UN, we are all committed to support this because this is part of the youth's agenda of Nigeria.
Technology, AI is fundamentally reshaping the future of work. And the planet is facing an existential threat from climate change. That is the world young people are entering.
Launched in 2021, Generation Unlimited Nigeria is a public-private youth partnership platform targeting 20 million Nigerian youth by 2030, supporting their transition from learning to earning, productive work and active citizenship. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
In the meantime, the federal government is taking measures towards addressing skills deficit among the nation's youth for a more prosperous Nigeria. Now, against this backdrop, the Federal Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund, embarks on sensitization about the recently launched national policy on skills development for stakeholders in the education sector of the North. Aminu Umar reports.
Nigeria is blessed with a vibrant population of young men and women, a demography strong enough to drive the nation towards economic prosperity if only the country fully harnesses its demographic dividends. However, skills mismatch continues to create hurdles, with many institutions producing graduates who are not readily employable. To shift towards a skill-based economy, the federal government earlier this year launched the National Policy on Skills Development. And now it's time for action as commissioners of education and other stakeholders gather to chart the way forward.
So you see, the bulk of the students are at the subnationals in the states. So we are going to domesticate this policy and see how it works, especially that most of these states have one type of policy on skills.
The knowledge we acquire here, we also ensure that we are going to scale it down to our teachers.
We need to look at how can we build the capacity of the teachers to understand the policy and to be able to deliver on its commitment.
To ensure timely implementation, the Minister of State for Education, Professor Sueba Said Ahmad, has directed that progress be closely monitored at subnational levels.
The Federal Ministry of Education, in line with the necessary objective, will continue to provide necessary support and guidance, collaborating with you to develop state-specific implementation plans and monitor progress for accountability.
The new policy identifies 29 core and secondary skills to be integrated into both formal and non-formal education systems. In Kano, Amin Umar, NTA News.
Now, from rising revenues to a stronger naira, Nigeria's economy is showing signs of progress. This is as the federal government says it is doubling down on strategies to make life easier for Nigerians. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, gave the assurance while updating the media on the state of the economy. Neka Oko reports on key takeaways.
Our medium-term goal, well advertised, is to get to 7% annual growth, GDP growth.
The minister's update paints a picture of progress, with gross revenues soaring by 37.4% in the first half of 2025 compared to the previous year, and a debt-to-GDP ratio at 38.8%, down from 52.1% after GDP rebasing.
And we have ended the unauthorized and above limits funding or by ways and means.
The federal government is also increasing revenue allocations to state, with their combined fiscal balance growing from 1.8% of GDP to 3.1%, representing an increase from 2.8 trillion naira to more than 7 trillion naira since mid-2023.
We are centralizing and digitizing the revenue collections from the ministries, departments and agencies, using technology to prevent leakages.
In the oil and gas sector, the minister reports that average production for the first half of 2025 was 1.67 million barrels per day, below the budgeted 2.06 million barrels, while crude oil prices also averaged $67, below the $75 benchmark set in the budget. Despite these shortfalls, he says the government is complying with OPEC production quotas. The minister attributed the country's economic growth to a broad-based expansion led by trade, communications and construction. The growth, he said, is expected to be sustained, driven by the government's economic policies and reforms. In Abuja, Nneka Oku, NTA News.
For more on the financial sector, let's bring in Benny Adams. Benny Adams, you can take it away from here.
Yeah, thank you, Jumai. I'm still talking about the economy. Now, speaking at the launch of the Women Exporters and Digital Economy Wade Fund in Abuja, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala says only 45% of Nigerians are connected to the internet, far below the global average of 67%. To this end, the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, commits to supporting the initiative, noting that women entrepreneurs bring a unique ability to connect product to real-life problems. Just as the Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, says, with women, the $1 trillion economy is a reality.
This is just the beginning. Nigerian women are entrepreneurial, they're phenomenal, and we give them all the necessary support to ensure that they don't only support the emergence of the $1 trillion economy, but globally we export not just the trade, but also our cultural influence.
Now talking energy, oil prices climbed on Thursday as investors remain cautious. The U.S.-Russia summit on Ukraine on Friday will lead to a loosening of Russian crude sanctions and may even result in further action against buyers. Brent crude futures were up 24 cents at $65.87 a barrel, while the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 21 cents to 62.85 cents. Let's take a look at other commodities in the market at this time. Now from the commodities market to the Nigerian stock market, where at the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian exchange, a total of 2.455 billion naira shares in 43,505 deals corresponding to a market value of 22.2 billion naira were traded. Today's data shows 83% improvement in volume, 10% improvement in turnover, and 42% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization rose to 91.9 trillion naira, and on the aggregate, 127 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 22 gainers and 52 losers. That is it on business at this time. But don't you go away. It's time to take the first break. Do stay with us.
You're welcome back. Now, many parts of the southeast, particularly project sites visited by the federal government delegation in Enugu, are turned to construction sites courtesy of the current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Members of the team being led by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, assured speedy delivery of ongoing projects and execution of more in the years ahead. Saliu Abdullahi Gwanara tells us more.
Across the country, the renewed hope prospects are turning into prosperity. Ongoing and completed projects in the southeast, particularly the Enugu-Port Harcourt and Enugu-Onitsha expressways, construction of the Abakpa flyover bridge along Enugu-Abakaliki Road, the remodel and equipped oncology center at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Ozara, were visited as parts of the legacy project of the renewed hope agenda.
They are very happy, very glad that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has constructed this bridge for them. What we hear from them is that before now, it is a nightmare for traffic here, for commuters to pass through this place. But now the construction of this bridge, they are hopeful. It's about 70 to 75% completed here from what we can see and what we have been told. And we know that by the time it is completed, it will solve all the problems of traffic in this community. This is linking Enugu, Ebonyi, and then straight to Cross River and Akwa Ibom State from here. So it's a very important artery. It's a very important road linking these 4 states together. And we are happy. This is part of the renewed hope promise that the president has given. Is renewing people's hope.
This is wonderful. I'm happy this is happening in my lifetime. You know, I can say this because it's not always usual that you find this kind of development springing up everywhere in a state. I represent Enugu State, and I'm so happy to be associated with our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR. I'm so proud that I'm of APC, and that is why all these developments you are seeing in Enugu is because of him. You know, because he's an accomplished man. He's from the private sector, so he knows where it pays the people.
The thing is that when Mr. President has been talking about renewed hope, we find that it's not just a slogan, it's real. And we have seen it in those facilities that we have examined. And I think Nigerians are happy. We are happy to see them in practice, and the people using them are also happy.
This government gesture is indeed acknowledged as necessary efforts to boost and build a nation with a solid economy for generations.
Now, you don't consider a K again. If you come to a K, it's free. Can't you see? Flyover up.
People where they are around here, they're very, very happy.
The place is looking pretty, so we are very happy for the project.
We do hope that in the soonest time that this project will be completed.
Reactions of the citizens here show a demonstration of hope for better days ahead as inspection of projects continue in other states in the zone. In Enugu, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Earlier, the Minister of Information and National Orientation visited Enugu State Governor, Dr. Peter Mba. He describes the infrastructural development policy of the federal government as key to national development. Chiegonu Aro has the report.
Minister arrived Enugu with a team of directors general, including the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. Some of the projects to be inspected are the Oncology Center at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Enugu, the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway, Eko Binago Flyover, and the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway. At the Government House, Governor Peter Mba described the visit as a commitment to fostering citizens' engagement and a show of public trust.
The Minister has just reminded us of how consequential Enugu State is, or the city of Enugu is. And it is indeed true that you cannot talk about the history of Nigeria without copious mentioning of Enugu State.
You can see that we have literally moved the entire communication and information structure of the federal government to Enugu today. And this is very, very intentional.
The minister, who extolled the giant strides of Governor Mba in infrastructure, commended his zeal in keying into the presidential commitment to distributing infrastructure across the nation. Some of the directors general expressed optimism in meeting up with the president's agenda in human and infrastructural development. In Enugu, Chiegonu Aro, NTA News.
Still in Enugu, the Minister of Information and National Orientation and leader of the federal government delegation on tour of projects in the Southeast says at the end of President Tinubu's first term, the benefits of the ongoing reforms will be clearer as the federal government remains committed to transparency, accountability, and delivering the dividends of democracy to all Nigerians. At a citizens' engagement in Enugu to reassess the activities of the government within 2 years, the team leader commended ongoing reforms by the state government and encouraged the people to subscribe to the ongoing reforms of the government for all categories of citizens. Government successes in security, national integration, and youth engagement were highlighted. Traditional institutions, women and youth groups participated in the citizens' engagement that is being replicated across the country. Now let's bring you up to speed with other news as the federal government has reiterated its commitment to sustaining policies and incentives that will ensure Nigeria remains an attractive destination for energy investments. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Senator Henneken Lapobri, gave this assurance during an inspection inspection of the NMPC joint venture facility in Delta State. Let's take a listen to Lydia Sampson's report.
The Bobby reiterates that since President Tinubu's assuming office, things have changed in the oil and gas sector.
Sincerely believe that we can only grow production, if we have sustainable investments. And as government asks is to give you, the best incentives as possible, to enable you to make those investments that will lead to sustainable growth in the volumes that, we require.
He said the time has come for Nigeria to develop its available oil blocks, stressing that it is better to farm out to partners rather than wait 20 or 30 years. The minister applauds the NMPC-CNL joint venture for operational excellence and urged other operators to consider farming out idle assets to investors with access to capital, noting that government is reviewing the activation of the drill or drop provision in the Petroleum Industry Act. Key stakeholders expressed optimism about the company's future in Nigeria and lauded the minister's commitment to collaboration. They commended the minister for being the first minister to visit. This, they believe, reflects the seriousness of the administration positioning the sector for global competitiveness. They also highlighted the enabling role of the Petroleum Industry Act and government support in attracting and sustaining investment. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Now, growth and development of education sector remain one major goal of the federal government to reshape socio-economic landscape of the country. Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Sonny Echenu, stated this while inaugurating the International Conference Center project built by the fund at Bayero University, Kano.
International Conference Center project is a multi-million naira initiative abandoned for 15 years at the Bayero University, Kano. The project is now completed, courtesy of the renewed policy of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, aimed at clearing all abandoned infrastructure projects across tertiary institutions in the country.
This edifice, an iconic building, not only improves the architecture of our campus and the ambience that we are seeing and witnessing, but it's a major source of activities and revenue for the university. You can now attract any level of conferences to be hosted here.
We made a case to TED Fund, and the ES graciously approved, and here we are today commissioning the edifice.
Situated at the heart of Bayero University, the center is equipped with state-of-the-art facilities to host conferences that will promote learning and support the university's revenue generation drive.
Now, California and Nigeria are teaming up in a new climate alliance designed to strengthen key socio-economic sectors in both regions. The partnership, which will focus on mitigation, technology transfer and industrial trade, was established after the California Africa Climate and Economic Delegations visited the National Council on Climate Change, Nigeria's official UNFCCC focal office. Charles Alpha reports.
This visit marks a pivotal moment in deepening ties between California and Nigeria, two dynamic economies poised to shape the future of global innovation and sustainable development. As the world's fourth largest economy and a recognized leader in climate action, California offers a strategic platform for Nigeria to expand its global footprint. California's economic vitality aligns seamlessly with Nigeria's ambitions in high technology, agriculture, entertainment, and inclusive green growth.
Issue that is an existential issue, an existential crisis, which is the climate change battle that we're all tackling. And I will note that your organization, the organization you lead, is well noted around the world for its leadership, and rightfully so. Your ability, your opportunity is now to tackle this issue.
This collaboration is the start of so many good things, and we are looking forward to doing a lot more with the Californians, and we're so proud that we were able to make this happen under such short time frame, but we delivered, and it shows the testament in terms of the energy that we have in here in this space.
With California's $675 billion in two-way trade, Nigeria can gain access to new markets, capital and supply chains, as well as investment in infrastructure, manufacturing and services that could stimulate job creation and an inclusive growth. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Time now to join Hingino John Adams in our Lagos studio for more news from that axis. Hello, Hingino.
Thank you, Jumai, and welcome to Lagos. Adequate funding of the aviation sector is important to drive global trade through rapid transportation of people and goods. Experts say prospects in the industry will foster connections between different economies.
A viable aviation sector contributes to the economic growth of any nation. Currently in Nigeria, the success rate of aircraft operational efficiency and on-time performance is below the global industry requirement, with aircraft and passenger number on the increase.
Some of the reasons why we're seeing the low success rate is 1, aging aircraft, 2, inadequate maintenance, 3, infrastructural limitations, and 4, some external factors such as fuel scarcity, foreign exchange impact, etc.
As the present administration continues to invest in the sector to change the narrative and unlock vast potentials that abound in the industry, this forum, organized by journalists reporting airport and aviation, is recommending monitoring of funds disbursed to keep pace with global best practices.
To unlock these potentials, we must embrace innovative financing mechanisms, ranging from public-private partnership, build, operate, and transfer models, leasing arrangements, to sovereign-backed financing and targeted foreign direct investment.
There is also the aviation fund in the African Development Bank, which we hope that when you have a stronger banking system and recapitalization, Nigerian aviation sector will tap into that.
Key players in the aviation sector believe with the number of passengers passing through Nigerian airports on the increase, adequate funding will open more opportunities for the country.
Now away from aviation, Nigerian youth have immense potential that can help the country achieve Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. However, they need to reposition themselves, keep hope alive, and own their dreams to be able to carry the responsibility entrusted to them. These are views of youth advocates while speaking on how youth can actively participate in meeting the SDGs target in the country. Lanre Bele has more.
The nation's population is the youth. Their vibrant and dynamic energy is always visible.
But too often, we depend on the government, waiting for the government to do everything. The truth is, the government can't do it all. So you may ask, how can the youth be vanguards of the Sustainable Development Goals in their communities and in their local government? Start where you are. Take decent work and economic growth. Yes, the rate of unemployment is very high, but we can change that by starting businesses.
Through practical work, through vocational skills, through tech skills, and the list continues and it goes on and on, that meaningful development can come to be. But first and foremost, the government needs to convince the teeming youth.
Accelerating the growth of the nation through poverty eradication, adequate health and well-being standards, gender equality, education and vocational training, sustainable cities, communities, and climate change action. To be active participants, youths in the country must display reliable capacities to execute these goals.
A lot of youths that I've seen, they lack priority. Most of them are just busy following trends. They don't know how to prioritize and focus on the things that matter, on how to build their own selves.
You are 18, you are 19, you are 21, you are 25. You have eyes, you have legs, you have hands, you are not crippled. One of the things of SDG number 1 is no poverty. Now, forget about no poverty in Nigeria or Africa. In your community, in your family, how do you ensure that there is no poverty?
Youth advocates state that for them to be positioned as the backbone of the SDG projects, they should be allowed to make decisions on their own, to embark on their entrepreneurial journey and be innovative. In Lagos, Lanre Gulayi, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Network News continues with Jummai in Abuja after the break.
You're watching NTA Network News and now talking politics. The countdown to the 2026 governorship election in Osun State has officially begun as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, pasted the statutory notice of election in all 30 local government offices and the Modakeke area office, signaling commencement of the electoral process. At an expanded engagement with stakeholders in Osogbo, Resident Electoral Commissioner Matu Abuke said the notice follows the timetable earlier released by INEC headquarters for the August 8, 2026 governorship election in the state. Femi Fariagun reports.
The clock has started ticking in Osun State for the 2026 governorship election. In the presence of security agencies, civil societies, and the media, INEC gave political parties notice of the election, announcing similar notice has been pasted in all the 30 local government areas and Modakeke area office of the state.
Conduct of the party primaries, including resolution of disputes arising from the primary, will start on the 24th day of November 2025 and end on the 15th day of December 2025.
INEC promises technology, transparency, and a poll where every vote counts in the year 2026.
We are going to monitor. From the experience we have had last, we would make sure we monitor local governments that we believe would violate this explanation.
Agboke says part of the electoral process of Osun governorship election is the continuous voter registration coming up on August 18.
In Osogbo, Femi Fariagun, NTA News.
And the People's Democratic Party has inaugurated its National Convention Zoning Committee ahead of the November 15 and 16, 2025 elective National Convention. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that the governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Doye Diri, is the chairman, while the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Muthwang, serves as secretary.
Level of preparedness of the PDP elective national convention slated for 15 and 16 November 2025 was the agenda of this media briefing by the party's national spokesperson, Debo Ologoagba. Assuring that all is going well for a successful convention, Ologoagba stressed that total commitment to the party's cause is non-negotiable, as the party will rely on its constitution to ensure members remain committed to its cause.
We're not confrontational, we're not fighting nobody. But we will respect our processes, we will respect our institutions, we will respect our organs, we will follow through, work together in the interest of the party one, in the interest of democracy, and in the interest of Nigeria.
Responding to questions on speculations that former President Goodluck Jonathan and the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi are gunning for the PDP presidential ticket for 2027, the party's national spokesman reacts.
The question you're asking is, don't running. Ask him, he said, is that right? I don't speak for President Jonathan. You go ask him, that was access to him, I know you do. So ask him. It's not for me to speculate what so that's your own imagination.
About the recent conditions set by certain members of the party for the success of the November 15 and 16 National Elective Convention, Ologoagba emphasized that the PDP is about the people, not any individual. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
We'll take another break. We'll be right. And Global Update is next.
On top of an all-out war, people in Sudan are now experiencing the worst cholera outbreak the country has ever seen in years. In the Darfur region alone, Doctors Without Borders teams reported treating over 2,300 patients and recorded 40 deaths in the past week. The Doctors Without Borders project coordinator in Tawila explained that in displacement and refugee camps, families often have no choice but to drink from the contaminated sources, and many contract cholera.
Of now, what we see in the camp is that there's a huge gap in terms of secured access for secured water.
And in another news, President Zelensky says his meeting with Keir Starmer was productive. In a post on X, the Ukrainian leader says the pair spoke of their expectations for Friday's Alaska meeting and the security guarantees Ukraine has been calling for to ensure a durable peace. There is a sense of optimism as Keir Starmer also reiterates that there is a viable chance to make progress. Comforts, fashion, NTA News.
And Francisca is standing by with news from the world of sports. Francisca.
Thank you, Juma. Welcome to Sports Update. After opening their 2025 AfroBasket campaign in Angola with a solid win against Madagascar, Nigeria's men's basketball team, the Tigers, turned their attention to a much tougher Group B clash against defending champions Tunisia. Basketball enthusiasts in Abuja believe this encounter will be a true test of how far the team can go in the championship.
We get a positive result tomorrow against the lads from Tunisia. It's actually going to serve as a catalyst going forward in this tournament and probably help us boost their momentum and charge their...
Elsewhere, the Nigeria Correctional Service, in conjunction with the House of Representatives Committee on Reformatory Institution and Legend Golden Care Foundation, have organized the Freedom Tournament for inmates of the Nigeria Correctional Center in Kuje. The tournament, which featured different teams in the center, provided the opportunity for the inmates to socialize and imbibe the spirit of sportsmanship while also building their capacity.
It's part of the promotion program we have. It helps them in their daily activities. It helps to reject their thinking. Cooperation is promoted among the inmates, and both their psychomotor domain and other domains are promoted.
Sports is a great tool for rehabilitation, and that is why we have introduced it to the inmates. It helps them to build leadership skills, how to set up a team. It has processes, and when they are able to carry on with these processes, it builds their capacities as well.
A month ago, Nigeria's capital city welcomed athletes from over 33 countries for the 2025 UFAC African Karate Championship stage at the Velodrome of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Beyond boosting their continental rankings, 7 Nigerian athletes from the tournament have now earned invitations to compete at the World Championship. President of the Karate Federation of Nigeria, Silas Agara, says while the federation is not yet where it wants to be, it has made tremendous progress in a short term.
Medals came from the juniors, the cadets, and most of the medals came from the juniors and the cadets. So I think in the next 2 years, like I said, if we're able to mentor those athletes, we should have world champions in Nigeria. And as we speak, those juniors are already having good ranking in the world as we speak. And that was why we had 6 invites for them to participate in the World Championship.
Meanwhile, with just 2 weeks into the Nigeria Premier Football League NPFL new season, the National Referee Fitness course in Abuja has concluded with high expectations from the center referees and their assistants who were engaged in an intensive training for about 2 weeks. The course, which is a refresher to prepare the football umpires' physical and mental fitness ahead of the 2025-2026 NPFL season, is coming at a time where partner of refereeing dynamics is changing.
It's a lot of amendment this time around, so the referees have to be aware of it so that during the officiating they implement exactly what is expected of them as regard to the loss of the game.
They know we don't expect anything short from the best.
Well, that's the size of a package. It's back to Jumai.
Thank you, Francisca. And weather update is next.
Hello, nice to have you with us once again. Social media is awash with images and videos of rivers and streams bursting to the seams as a result of torrential rainfall that we've had in the past 24 hours. Reports of rainfall from our station show us ample rainfall over the northern part of the country, exceeding 20 millimeters of rainfall. We recorded 140 millimeters from Maiduguri in Borno State, which was the highest, 44 from Sokoto, while we had 53 from Bauchi. As we move into Friday, we do not expect this trend to change that much, as there are prospects of moderate to heavy rainfall over the northern part of the country and parts of the central states. And with rivers levels already this high, it increases the chances of flash flooding along riverine and low-lying areas, with the highest prospect expected over parts of Sokoto, Kebbi into Zamfara, Niger State, parts of Kaduna, the Federal Capital Territory, Kogi, and parts of Nasarawa State. And you may want to stay safe out there. Thank you for watching.
And weather update wraps up network news tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Jumai Yusuf.